Who says title insurance isn't sexy when during the State of the Union last night, Joe Biden calls out title insurance?
And my administration is also eliminating title insurance on federally backed mortgages.
I get it. I get it. The White House is looking at the cost of home ownership and saying it's too expensive. Regular people can't go afford homes. So what are we going to do? They all get in a room and they look and say, let's try to lower some of the closing costs. Which closing costs do people not understand? Title insurance. Let's get rid of it. That's essentially what they're doing. And it's amazing to see in 2024, you get a little bit older experience in your career, you think that these folks are geniuses running the country. But that's literally what they're doing, because the negative consequences of removing lenders' title insurance, they're talking about when folks are getting a mortgage, it's catastrophic. It's absolutely catastrophic. And I'm not just doing that to defend the industry. Number one, you're gonna halt lending. So now what you're saying is, lender, it's your choice. You don't have to have it, which it's fine. So now you're saying, hey, Bank of America, hey, Wells Fargo, it's up to you whether or not you want an insurance policy that secures your interest in that property. And a technical way to say that is that secures your lien position, meaning when do you get paid back? In addition, it secures the amount of money you're lending on that property. Do you want insurance on that or not? Up to you, Wells Fargo. By the way, these banks in 2024, most of which still won't even recognize, still won't even allow remote online notarization, a method of having a borrower execute documents after their identification is run through software to verify their identity. They answer 5 questions about them that only they should know, and the entire notarization is recorded. There are banks in 2024 that still won't allow that and prefer the traditional way where somebody just hands a title professional or a remote notary an ID and that human being looks at it and says, oh yeah, this is good. We know you are who you are, sign that paperwork. Those banks right now are going to take the risk of not having a title insurance policy that guarantees their interest in the property. There's no chance. Where does this idea even come from? So you got to go to the White House. You got to look at the paperwork they distributed yesterday, and you could see their whole thesis is predicated on an analysis. Here's the analysis. You can see it. I'll save you the time. Essentially what the analysis says is that, hey, title insurance claims are so low compared to other forms of insurance that is it even necessary? The reason why title insurance claims are so low is based on the closing work title professionals are doing during the 41 days it takes to close a transaction. You got to look, we are guaranteeing who owns that property. We are guaranteeing that the person signing that paperwork, whether it's a loan or a deed, has the authority to do it. Think about this. Is it a deceased person? Is it an estate? Is it an LLC? Is it in a trust? Is it a partnership? Is it a corporation? Is it a self-directed IRA? Title is ensuring that. In addition, are there outstanding claims that can infringe on that lender's money or that buyer's money? Yeah, homeowners association dues, tax liens, water. Obviously, we do a terrible job in our industry of making sure that regular people understand, but all of those things can show up and infringe on that lender's interest in the property and the funds that they're lending, as well as the buyer's funds they're bringing to the closing table. I also want to bring this up because think about this. On a piece of property where there's title insurance and there's a lender, the lender's also requiring they want a survey because they want to know what land is actually owned. Is there anything on our borrower's land that's infringing on a neighbor? Is there anything in the neighbor's land that's encroaching on the borrower's land? These items to remedy could be thousands upon thousands of dollars. Imagine a quarterly HOA assessment of $1,500 that's 3 quarters behind. And guess what? In one more quarter, that HOA knows they need to foreclose. So now you're $4,500 behind because you wanted to save on a $1,000 lender's title insurance policy. And oh, guess what, Bank of America? Sorry, you didn't have title insurance, but the HOA foreclosed, and now your interest in the property is no more. What happens to the money that they lent? Where does that wasted cost go to? These are the things that haven't been completely thought through yet with such a ludicrous idea. And that is just the tip of the iceberg. And the final 2 points I just want to make. It talks about attorney opinion letters. So what you're essentially saying is, hey, don't pay for a title insurance policy, but let's put the risk on attorneys. And do you believe that an attorney is going to charge a retainer with a scope of work that's going to be less than the title insurance policy? I would say you're wrong. Furthermore, let's say you just do away with it and all the banks just say no more title insurance. And now let's just say instead of 4 to 5% in claims per year, that grows, what does that go to? 10%, 15, 20, 30? Because remember, nobody's checking. The average loan amount in March of 2024 is about $440,000. Banks are giving $440,000. And if the percentage of claims was to go from a very low, minimal 3 to 5% and grow to 20, how much money is being wasted and thrown away? It's incredible to think about the unbelievable catastrophic collapse that could happen. It's also incredibly irresponsible and immature to have these leaders jump into a room, target a particular closing cost, which is one of the lowest within a real estate transaction overall, by the way, separate video, and not identify the previous 20 years of government decisions that led to this increased cost of homeownership throughout the United States, this shortage of homes, this mass influx of population where folks need places to live, this obtuse view of supply and demand when it comes to renters. Yet, on the same token, we just added 7 million folks to our population or 8 million folks to our population that need a place to live. Supply and demand. It takes a year to build a house. So what do you do in the short term? In the short term, rents are going to go up. Your whole argument, your whole premise is flawed. And again, I mean, people would say, well, hey, that's the government. But again, you're in the State of the Union. You're going to come after title insurance. And I can assure you, we are going to be here to defend why what we do exists, why what we do is warranted, why what we do every single day actually keeps costs down and the United States economy thriving. I hope this helps.